Okay, so we were able to successfully retrieve current stock price information and fundamental data using the TD Ameritrade API in Python. So now that we have our price information, how do we actually place an order using the TD Ameritrade API? So I'm going to talk about how to use the order API to place an order. So let's go to the documentation for the TDA API package, and you'll see that it has a client wrapper and it has a section on creating order specifications. And so placing an order is actually a little bit more complex with TD Ameritrade API due to the fact that they have this order specification. And then there's a whole schema for placing orders. And that's because TD Ameritrade's API is actually very powerful, and you're not limited to just placing a buy and sell order. It actually supports this whole schema that specifies very complex ordering strategies. So you can see there's a schema here for buying a common stock. So if you wanted to buy 15 shares of a given equity, or you have an option to buy a single option, the option to buy certain option spreads. You can have one order trigger another. And so you see it's not as simple as just one method with one or two parameters for like symbol and quantity and price. Like some other APIs, you can actually specify all these complex trading strategies that are conditional and can trigger another order, which is great for algorithmic trading because often you want one order to trigger another or cancel another order, and it's not always as simple as just placing a manual trade and giving a stock symbol and a price. So how does the TDA API package handle this? So they have this author has created this package, and he has this method of creating order specifications, and that involves creating this order builder object. So the first thing we'll do is use this equity order builder object to place a trade. So I'm going to do that. And so we have an example here of importing the equity order builder. And then he also has objects or modules for duration and session. So the same way we had different constants defined for options like option type, put, and so forth, he has a bunch of constants defined for order types and different instructions that you can execute. So let's take this example and break it down to see how to use it. So I'm going to put this inside of our script that we had already created. So we already have a client that's authenticating, as we've done in the previous videos, and we've already imported a variety of packages and libraries. And so what we're going to do is take this import statement. So he's importing from this orders package, and he has equity order builder, duration, and session. And so let's put this up with our other imports. So we're importing all of those packages, and let's talk about what this does. So I've imported the equity order builder, and so you see that we instantiate it here. We set builder equal to equity order builder, and this accepts a couple of parameters. So I'm going to let this autocomplete, and you see it accepts symbol and quantity. So the basic two things you need with any equity order is you need a symbol, what do you want to order, and quantity, how many of that thing do you want to order. So let's say we want to order a stock. I have an Ameritrade account here, and I only have a little bit of money in here, $1,000, so we're not going to order like 100 shares of Apple stock or anything. Let's order a cheap stock, let's say Redfin, so I'm going to do that. So I will use the symbol RDFN, which is Redfin stock, and then for the quantity, let's put 3. So I'm going to order 3 shares of Redfin stock. And then with this builder object, it provides a variety of methods. So since this order specification is very complex, and the author, you probably don't want to deal with this huge JSON structure, right? You don't want to have to manually specify this in order to place a trade. Really, you want a bunch of setters methods to just set specific things. So you want set duration, set price, and you want to gradually build up this complex structure a little bit at a time by calling a bunch of setter methods. That makes it very simple. You just have this simple equity order builder object. So we're going to call these setters. And so setting instruction is a specific order type. Whether you're buying or selling is all that really is. So you see we have equity order builder.instruction.sell. So we're not doing a sell here. We're going to do a buy. Let's see what the other instructions are. So this is just saying the instruction is whether you want to buy or sell. So we're going to buy equity order builder.instruction.buy, just a constant. And then you have an order type, and that's whether it's a market order or a limit order, for instance. So I'll let this autocomplete equity order builder dot order type dot, and you see we have limit and market. And so I'll try a market order now, and I'll just say duration is a day, and the session is normal. So we already have a client, so we don't need that. That's defined up here as C. And so account ID is actually the ID associated with our Ameritrade account. So this is a number that you've either seen on your statement, and it's also displayed in your profile. If you go through your Ameritrade account, you should be able to find that or see it on your statement. I'm not going to show you what mine is, so I'm going to put this also in the config file, and then I'm going to edit that out of the video. So I'm going to say account ID equals, actually, I'm just going to use config.account ID, and I'm going to go to my config file and enter in my account ID. Now it's like I think it's a 9-digit number. Okay, so I went in my config.py, I set a variable called account ID, and I set it equal to the number that represented my account ID. So I found that actually on one of the statements in my Ameritrade account. It's also in the profile or probably some other settings pages if you log in. So it was like a 9-digit number, and I left out the dash. And so that variable is defined in config.py, so I use config.accountID, and then we're calling this builder.build. So it's this builder object with all of the information we need, and we just say build, which is just taking all of these specifications and then constructing this JSON data that it needs in order to place this order. And then we have a response, so I'm going to print the response and see what happens. So I'm going to print this response. All right, placing an order, and I'm going to say 5 shares of Redfin stock, just because I've run this before, and I'm going to execute that, and you see it gives me a 201 response, so that should be good. And now I'm going to go to my Ameritrade account and see what happens. So if I refresh the page, you'll see there's now a buy order in for Redfin stock, 5 shares at market price, and time in force is for 4/20, which would be Monday. So I guess it would just buy at the market open, which I might not want to do that. So maybe I want to specify a limit order. So let's say my order type, I want it to be limit, and I want a specific price. I can do builder.set price here. And let's say I only want to buy Redfin stock at, let's see what it's currently trading at, $18.36. Let's just say I want to buy it at $18 a share. So I can set a limit price. That way this order only executes if it dips to $18 real quick, and I'll place the order again. All right. And we got another 201 response, and I look back at my order status page here, and you see that we have an order, limit order to buy Redfin stock, 5 shares at $18 a share, and the time it's good for the day. We can also specify, for instance, good till cancel, which means this order will just sit out there for multiple days until we cancel it. Anytime it drops for 18, no matter how long it is in the future, that order would still execute. We can set the session, so the session is normal, so that's just during the day. But we could also say AM or PM. So if you want to buy it like pre-market, or if you want to buy it in after hours, you can do that as well. So that's another great thing Ameritrade allows you to do. So I think that's it for this series. I just wanted to show you how to quickly get set up with the TD Ameritrade API, make sure you can authenticate, and then show you how to execute some methods to get price information, and then execute some orders using this order builder object. So thanks a lot for watching this series. Stay tuned. There's a lot more videos to come. The channel just surpassed 1,000 subscribers, so I'm going to keep going and hopefully get to 10,000 or maybe even 100,000 someday. So thanks a lot for watching. Take care.